Yeah, because Clint and Don Siegel and De Niro know what the fuck they're doing. They've been around and they have the spiel down. They know what is required of them. They know how to make one. They got it down and they played the game and they got fire in their belly. Also, all of that shit. They're there because they want to be there and they love being there. And I was just there to learn. It had nothing to do with this is what I'm going to do forever. Or acting to me is I can do it.
Yeah,
if I can do it. So if I can do it and I can make money to make films, okay. But when I got the Academy Award, I didn't want to make another film.
He is an Academy Award nominated filmmaker. He writes, produces, directs. He's a musician, an artist, and as an actor, he's been in a few film and television series, including, but certainly not limited to, Laverne and Shirley, Escape from Alcatraz, WKRP in Cincinnati, Annie, Family Ties, Newhart, Running Scared, Armed and Dangerous, Alf, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, Mr. Belvedere, Tales from the Crypt, Matlock, Pretty Woman, Dragnet, Death Warrant, Home Alone, Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Voyager. Seinfeld, Mad About You, Married with Children, Step by Step, It's Pat, the movie, The George Carlin Show, Billy Madison, Lois and Clark, Days of Our Lives, Ellen, Home Improvement, Friends, Vegas Vacation, Money Talks, Party of Five, Walker, Texas Ranger, ER, Malcolm in the Middle, Monk, My Name is Earl, The Silverman Program, Breaking Bad, Barry, and that's just like a quarter of the portfolio. He's actually filming 8 movies right now as we're shooting this interview simultaneously at the same time. It's absolutely wild. No matter what generation of films and television that you grew up on, you definitely know his face, even though you may not know his name. His name is Mr. Larry Hankin. Larry, thank you so much for being here today. It is an honor.
Okay, well, I guess I can sign off now. That was it. Thank you and good night.
I'm really hoping that we can get into at least like 5 to 10 of those projects. And I kind of made some notes of like the ones that stood out to me or that, mean something important to me. But before we get into the career, I saw that you were an industrial designer. That's what you went to college for. I was curious how that led to acting.
Well, it didn't. At all. I just couldn't take it, man. Industrial design is cubbyhole work. I visited. I was pretty good at it. I mean, I like art. These are my paintings here. I thought industrial design was art. I saw design, industrial design, and my parents saw industrial design. So we both had the wrong idea. Well, I guess they had the right idea. I just didn't want. So I visited Detroit. They wanted me to design cars for Ford Motor Companies. But when I went, I was very disappointed, and I told them so. And I never went back. I think their quote was, "You don't want to work here, do you?" With that accusatory. Because I kept on saying, like I would pick up a little plaster of Paris. They make little plaster of Paris cars and then they draw them. And so they took this little plaster of Paris and I was looking at it, I picked it off somebody's desk. They took us for a tour. It was all the top students from about 4 colleges.
Okay.
So they were taking it. So I was looking at it and he goes, "Oh, you really like that?" And I said, "Well, actually, no, I don't. I was looking at it because I expected more from Ford Motor Company." And that's when he said, "You don't want to work here, do you?" And I took it to heart. I thought, actually, no, I don't want to work here. So that's how I got into show business. No, I don't want to work here.
I feel like that's such a common origin story for actors or people that are in that I've heard that many times. Like when because you have to work, even though, and they always ask that, like, why do you want to work here? And the honest answer is, well, I don't. There's other things that I'd much rather be doing. There's aspirations and hobbies that I'd like to turn into something that could make money. But until then, you are hiring and I have bills to pay. Like and they always, if you have your heart somewhere else and your foot, one step, 1 foot out of the whatever you're doing in the film community, they always can like spot that out. I've heard that so many times. Like, you don't really want to be here, do you? And it's because
Well, I mean, I didn't even. That was like when they had all I think it was 8 of us giving this tour. We were still going to school, so in college. We were seniors. We were all seniors, so this was a little trial introduction to us, and they were going to pick the top students to work there. So I hadn't been hired, and I just figured I would just get through, because once I got to Syracuse and saw what the industrial design department was and what the curriculum was, I knew I just wanted to get through the college part. That was because that was a favor to my parents. They wanted me to go to college. Okay, but I want to go to art school. Okay, they have an art department. Okay, so I just was looking forward to just graduating, and then it was a blank slate. I mean, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and here I was in college in Detroit, and you don't want to work here. So when I left, I made up my mind on the plane trip back to Syracuse. I was thinking, okay, that's out. So now I have a clear kind of future. It was kind of scary. Yeah. But when I got back to Syracuse, my best friend was Carl Gottlieb, who was later to write most of the Jaws movies. He wrote Jaws, and he wrote the Jaws Log, which is a best-selling book, which is now going to become a Broadway hit. I hear.
Oh, nice.
Show. So he just wanted to be a writer, So I hung out with him, and he was in the drama department. So that was the connection. And I asked him, I said, look, man, I'm not going to Detroit. That's just bullshit. So, where are you going? What are you going to do? He said, well, I'm going to Greenwich Village, and I'm going to be a writer. And I said, okay, you want a roommate? I mean, that was it. That was, and he said, well, yeah, man, I don't have any money. And I said, okay, well, I'm going back home to Far Rockaway. That's where I live. He was going back to the Bronx. That's where he lived. And we got on the phone and said, okay, let's just move, to Greenwich Village. And we got an apartment, four or five stairs, 4 or 5 floors, walk up, no elevator. I think we were paying something like $75 a month or something.
Oh, wow.
It was built for one person. It was a one-person little.
Yeah, like a studio, I guess.
That looked across an atrium to a brick wall. An atrium. I mean, it was just ridiculous, man. You would never bring a date there, bring a woman home. It's just ridiculous. Maybe in the afternoon, just so I could change clothes or something, but you didn't want to stay there.
I feel like now things are different. Like you could totally bring a date to a place like that now. They're like, oh my goodness,
well, yeah, now it'd be really
so economical.
Economical, yeah. So he started to get, what do you call it? He got jobs in newspapers, local, really, really local. I mean, 4 or 5 blocks, was the distribution area. Mm-hmm. Reviewing movies. And so that's how he paid the rent. And I just bust bars and stuff, swept up from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. in a bar. And the reason I did that and stuck with it for a couple of weeks was because it was a bar and grill, so I could take food home.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have enough. I wasn't making enough money to buy food, so either Carl helped me out or I had to pay the rent. And then finally, I couldn't take that, but I had all my evenings free, waiting to go into work at 2 a.m. in Greenwich Village. So I'd hung out at the coffee houses. And that's where I got into show business. And well, I was a funny guy in high school. I was a funny guy in college. I can do that, open mic nights, stand up. So
and you ended up, I saw you ended up opening up for Woody Allen.
Well, yeah, about 3 to 4 months. I had a very fast learning curve. I was awful in the beginning. I got to tell you that, man. I was
naturally
not funny at all. It's not the same as making your friends laugh,
Yeah.
But I picked it up really, really fast, and I liked hanging out in the green room. That was the part that I liked, just hanging out in the green room with the other comedians and the folk singers, the
Mm-hmm.
60s. So that's how I got into show business. And finally, a manager came in. Hey, you got a manager? No. You want one? Yeah. How about me? Fine. Great. And then he said, okay, I'll come in and check every once in a while. And he left. He said, if anybody asks, your manager is Jack Rollins. And then he left. I said, okay, I got a manager now. That was the whole point of being on stage in Greenwich Village. It was not to make money or to become famous. It was to get representation. Mm-hmm. I got a manager, man. And Jack Rollins turned out to be the biggest manager in Greenwich Village. I didn't know that. People told me, you got a manager? Who is it? Jack Rollins. Jack Rollins, that's Woody Allen's manager.
So were managers kind of like gatekeepers? Like there was just like no chance of working for a studio without a middleman?
That was the only way that I knew and know now about then, was nobody was there to be famous. Everybody had, a shtick, an act, a blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And you just got up on stage to make it better, to hone it, to get better so you could get representation, because representation was the key to everything else after Greenwich Village. So to get a manager or an agent or any kind of representation at all was like a big score. It was like getting a huge contract or a movie deal, in comparative terms. And I didn't even, I was there for 2-3 months. And then this guy walks in, says, hey, blah, blah, blah. And he walked out, and, somebody's, in a discussion, you talk about, I almost got a manager, and I'm talking to this agent, and he's going to come in next week, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I got this guy, Jack Rollins. Holy cow. And everybody got crazy. And so, what's this all about? Well, he discovered a lot of famous people, So that's how I got into show business, all just by not, it was by turning down a lot of things and just sticking it out. And I thought, it's going to get better. That was all hey, you're young, man. You just got out of college. You're going to live forever, man.
Well,
that's what kept going.
I don't know about you personally, but I can speak for myself personally. And it seems like that's what keeps me going too, is that it's going to get better. And that sometimes in my heart of hearts, I have to be real with myself and be like, maybe it won't. But it seems like most of the people that I work with that are into filmmaking and that are after that lifestyle, just wanting to create and be an artist, there's this a delusion that you have to a certain degree to keep accepting the rejection or keep creating with no accolades or any kind of recognition in response for so long. And you have to keep telling yourself that, I feel like sometimes it's like I don't play the lottery and I don't gamble. But I feel like being an aspiring filmmaker is kind of like playing the lottery and gambling, because that's kind of the thing that helps me fall asleep at night. It's like, I've put all these different cards out on the table. One of them is going to come. Tomorrow could be the day that a phone call comes, or it's just.
Let me add my experience to that.
Please.
There's a phrase I picked up that. Or a fact. Here's a fact I picked up that kind of applies to what you're saying. The fact over the years I picked this up, is that the only way to success at whatever you want to do is to not quit. There's nobody, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Because there is nobody that is a success that quit. You either quit or you're a success. There's no in between. The other thing now, so that's just one. The other thing, and they go together, is you can't do you can't put a lot of cards on the table, to use your expression. You got to pick one card.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
if you say, well, I got a lot of cards on the table, I could do this or this, one of them is going to hit. None of them are going to hit. It's Bob Dylan said, I was born doing it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I was born doing it. And, and I keep doing it and blah, 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 blah. And man, I finally hit my, I'm a success kind of thing. Because all those things that you read in the beginning meant nothing to me. Those are my cards on the table.
Yeah, yeah.
I never became a star, but now, after years and years of putting cards on the table and not quitting on any of them, I finally found out what I really want to do. And what I really want to do is I want to write. And it took me until now, until my hair is gray, but I've always written, not knowing that, and it wasn't a question of I'm going to keep writing or I'm not going to quit writing. No, it's just something that I always did.
Yeah.
It had nothing to, but I would not quit on other things. I did blah, blah, blah. I found out what I've done, like what you read to me in the beginning. I found that out from podcasters. I never followed me. I never knew about what you just talked about.
I got that impression from you.
By being on podcasts and hearing guys read that out. Never as many as that. But they go, what do you think about that, Larry? I said, I don't know. I don't follow me, man. I live in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
I live in an apartment, and when I am not auditioning or trying to do this or that for some other person, hey, you would be in my film, blah, blah, blah. When I have nothing to do and sitting around, I play guitar and I write. Yeah. And then one day, a couple of months ago, well, it was because of COVID, I was trapped in my house, right? You don't go out for 2 years, man. And so I just wrote and wrote. That was all I did. Because you couldn't do anything else. You couldn't even go to see friends. You couldn't go out to dinner, nothing. So I wrote and I wrote and I read a book. And
that's the Loopholes dossier, right?
And then somebody read it and goes, holy cow, man, this is really great. Well, why don't you try to get this out there, published? So, well, okay, cool. So I sent it to somebody and they said the same, holy cow, man. So it's being published. It's coming out in October. So that's what I really wanted to do. But it's taken me this long, but I never stopped writing. Yeah. I never stopped. I didn't care if anybody told me it was bad or good. A lot of stuff I put in a drawer because I thought it was awful, and then I would take it out about 3 years later, which is what I've been doing lately, taking stuff out I wrote like 7 years ago. Wait a minute, man, I could tweak this and this is cool. So that's my long explanation of just don't quit and pick one thing. And if you don't quit, you're going to be a success, man. Yeah. Now, a friend of mine, actually Bobby Newhart, who is a great man. He passed away recently, but he's a great guy. I've known him for years and years. And he was the road manager for Dylan for years, I think for always. And he was a really funny guy. But we were talking about, well, what are we doing, man? It's like, maybe it's two artists talking,
yeah,
coffee somewhere. What the fuck are we doing, man? I mean, it's not happening. Well, yeah. No. And I said, well, I don't know, man. And he goes, I said, what have Bobby, you've been, he was a folk singer, basically. But he was a master road manager. I mean, he was with Bob Dylan for forever. But he was really funny songs and great songs. And I said, what do you think about how you keep going, but you're not rich yet, And he said, I think, Larry, I'm going to be really, really famous after I die. And I thought, wow, that's a great way of looking at just keeping at it,
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, he knows he's going to be a success because if you don't quit, you're going to be a success. That's like a given. That's like a fact.
Yeah.
But he knew he was going to be a success after he died. In other words, the time frame is what you're fucking with.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, like just don't quit, and you will. Yeah, because that's the.
And it's got to be one thing. You got to just pick one thing and keep it up. And you know, there's a line from, you know, the old albums, the LPs. They used to come in these album covers, you know, and on the back, what Dylan used to do, you know, in the 60s and 70s when he had these LPs, was he used to write his extra stuff for the back cover. And I used to read the back covers of all his albums because they were really great. Little poems or little stories or whatever, you know, stuff they had left over.
Yeah.
And he would say, I forgot what he would say now because I was talking so long. But I mean, he had these great little things like, the point he was saying was, he was telling me this little story, and at the end of it, he said, I didn't want to die 6 feet from the well. He was talking about crawling across a desert. You're crawling and you're crawling. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to get. And then, you know, you die 6 feet from water. And he said, I don't want to die 6 feet from the well. And I always kept that in my mind, you know. And Bobby said, well, you know, somebody will drag my body to the well. It's okay.
or at least find you there and respect the fact that you died trying.
But you know, but meanwhile, you got to be in the now. You know, with all that little philosophical bullshit I just laid out, you got to be in the now. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to more with the when I say all my all my cards out on the table, like to clarify, I am all in on filmmaking. My cards are, you know, I've done a few feature films, I've done a few comedy specials and music videos and scripts.
Well,
and
where
all
are your
that.
films? Where are they?
They're you know, some are on YouTube, some are on Amazon. I've put scripts out on Film Freeway. Comedy specials are out on other platforms. But when I go to sleep at night, and I you know, I've sent things out to different people. And that's what I mean by the cards out on the table. Is I sleep. It's like, okay, I'm consistently putting things out there.
Oh yeah.
You know, something somebody might see one of those things. Exactly. A part of it is it's delusional, and there's also, you know, I don't want to.
Do you send them to festivals?
Oh yeah, I do the festival thing with the feature films, sure.
Wow, you make feature films?
I do. I don't want to give the impression that they're like, you know, huge.
Oh no. I understand, but still doing a long form. I bet that's what I meant when I said feature.
I never, you know, I only recently started to understand the benefit of short films. Like I always kind of looked at short films and wondered why not just make a film that could play in a theater and could go the whole way, but. So that's always been my approach. Like if I'm going to tell a story, it's going to be long form. I'm going to take 3 months on a project. And but it was recently, like I started working with a lot of other local filmmakers, and they mainly do short films, and it just clicks. Like, okay, you don't need that big of a budget. It's more, you could still tell a story and pitch it to get the budget for a feature film. There's more of a chance at festivals with short films and features. So I definitely, you know, but I like the experience of a feature film, the spectacle of, you know, every film that I've done, I've held a local premiere. The last one, I kind of took it on a little mini tour in the Southeast to different local theaters.
There you go. I mean, you're doing it.
I am. My wife will be the first to tell you how much I am, and it's like, you know, there's been no
idea how large wives loom in the film industry.
They are the thankless credit, and that's rarely seen in the scrollers.
The thankless critic.
You know, but it's I'm not in it for the money, but when I say success, I love what you said about like the poetic side of success, where if you don't quit, you are successful. And that's absolutely true. But the logistical side is like the success as far as being successful at sustaining my existence off of what I really love doing. And that's
yeah, that's the Machiavellian part. And I had to learn that. That's a hard lesson to learn. If you don't have it coming in, or you didn't get it from your parents, which I never did, or was knocked out of me. I had stuff given to me, or I was like a favorite nephew, favorite little child, I didn't have any competition from other relatives' children. I was the firstborn and then nobody came along for about 5 or 6 years, and then they got all the jazz stuff. But so I had a free ride for quite a while in a very big family,
Yeah.
And so everything was given to me, and so I figured, well, that's how life is going to be, and that's a hard lesson to learn. No, you got to do it yourself. So the thing about film is the key to making films is the money and raising money. That's why I stuck with acting, because the money was good enough for me to make a film short. So I didn't spend it on houses or anything like that, and I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know how to ask for money. Yeah, that was the thing.
Oh wow! So acting was a means to filmmaking for you.
Films.
That's awesome.
That's the only reason I was an actor. I never wanted to be an actor. That there's no point to it. I mean, isn't that the point to it? I didn't have the fire in the belly to be an actor.
Sure. Yeah.
In other words, whatever you're going through, I went through in Greenwich Village. All filmmakers, anybody in show business, anybody who aspires to success, whatever the successful shoeshine guy. If you want to be a successful shoeshine guy and open up a whole bunch of, shoeshine stands all over the United States, you got to raise money. At some point, you got to ask somebody for money.
Yeah.
And that is a whole talent that has nothing to do with being a juggler or a high wire actor, or a singer, or a filmmaker.
Yeah, I always say if I could just
your talent unto itself. And you have to, if you're a filmmaker, you have to have that talent. And if you don't, you got to develop it. Or you forget it. It's like in Greenwich Village, you got to get an agent. You got to be a financier. You got to get somebody who knows how to. And it took me years to understand that.
Yeah.
I would try to raise money, but I just didn't know how. Until finally I learned how, and it's just you got to have the goods. In other words, you have to have a fan. In other words, whoever is your financier has to be your fan. There's when Jack Rollins came into the coffee house, and I was doing a Monday night open mic night. I just 3 minutes, 10 minutes. I was good enough to do 10 minutes of an open mic night. But when he saw me and he said, "Hey, you got a manager?" "No." "How about me?" "Yeah." "Okay." Jack Rollins, boom. But he was a fan. In other words, he was for me. He wasn't just looking to make money. He said, "No, this guy has got talent or something. I can make money off of him."
Yeah.
Yes. But he has something that I'm a fan of. And so good luck with raising money, man. Good luck.
Yeah. That's true. I always say if I could find a great producer, I could be a successful.
Yeah, and producers generally are fans of the person they're giving the money to. Wow, man. Hey, yeah.
Because I absolutely suck at the. It's not even really the business side of it. It's the pitching side. It's like to conveying to others how excited this is, or how exciting this is, or how good something is, and selling myself. I'm not very good at selling myself.
No, you got to sell. You got to convince. A producer is a as a financier, as a producer, they want to know how to get their money back. They don't give a fuck about your talent.
Sure.
They just
Yeah.
want to know this person can. If I give this person $100,000, I'm going to get that back, plus a taste. And this guy is good enough to get me my money back. That's what you have to convince them, not how talented or great this is. Is listen, man, you give me $100,000, here's how you get your money back. You know.
Yeah, that's good advice.
2 years or sooner. No, you have to have the pat down. The what do you call it? Not the. You have to have the spiel.
Yeah.
About the spiel down. So that's what I learned. The spiel. There's key words. It's a fucking game, man. But it's all a game. If you want to be a CEO, you want to be in a hardware business. You got to have the hardware spiel. You know, but it's a learning curve. Again, you have to learn all of the parts. But it's, you can't quit. You got to learn all the parts. Maybe you are a great filmmaker. Maybe, and because I haven't seen your films, I would love to see your films. But maybe you just don't have the pitch down. You got to get your pitch down, man.
Yeah.
That's it. And as far as I'm telling you this because of what I see. The pitch, and I hear pitches, I listen to pitches, I blah, 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 I try to do, and I see there's a difference between how I pitch a film or whatever my project is, my book. There's a difference between how and how a successful person does it.
Yeah.
There's they're not red flags, but like white flags or blue flags. There's little key words and things that got to be in there, and that's what they listen to. It's like a baby listening to their mother's voice. They can tell. This is a familiar voice.
I just don't speak that language. And it's not even,
somehow, or they have to learn your language.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting on somebody that's like, hey man, I get you. I like your authenticity. I trust that. That's somebody I want to work with, because I can't put on that. It would be an act for me, because it's just not who I am on like at the deepest level of me. It's just not who I am. That's why I've never succeeded in any job, because I can't play the game. I can't even role play in the bedroom.
Yeah,
because
you gotta play the game.
Yeah, but they know.
Okay, so there's a third one. You got to know. You got to play the game. It's a game, and you got to play it. And if you're not a player, that's where you're a player, man. Where that phrase comes from.
Yeah.
You gotta like the give and take. Mainly is the take. But I just negotiated it. I didn't, but I got an agent. I got a representation. That was the whole thing to the book. I got representation. All of a sudden, everything changed. But it took me a year to get representation. But finally, when I did, and I trusted his voice, So I said, I gotta learn this game. And so finally I did, but I would listen to all these different pitches for books. And finally I got my pitch for my book. I finally got it together so that somebody said, oh yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like that. It's good. But I found out, I know how to play this game, but it took me a year and I had to, just shut out everything else. People would ask me, hey, you want to be in this film? Or no, I'm learning a different game now.
Yeah. With getting to writing, which I thought it was awesome that you're, a much delayed congratulations, but Solly's Diner, the first short film that you wrote, directed, produced, starred in, probably more things that aren't listed on IMDb to get it made. That was a nominated for an Academy Award.
We had to do that in stages. First I had a well, it wasn't even my idea. It was just, again, things fell into into place, and I got mixed up with the right people.
Mhm.
An actress, friend of mine, said, "Hey, why don't you write a movie?" Her husband was he was a camera operator.
Yeah, he did. He did Ernest Goes to Camp. I recognized his name.
What?
He was a camera operator on
Harry
Ernest Goes.
Mathias?
Yeah, yeah. Among other things, but I recognized his name and I couldn't figure out why. And I grew up. Ernest Goes to Camp was one of my favorite
Oh, I
movies.
didn't
as a
even
kid.
know that. Well, I mean, he was a camera operator, and he wanted to be a cinematographer, which is a huge money bump.
Mhm.
So she said, "Why don't you write a film and let Harry be the cinematographer, because he's an operator, but if he gets that credit, he can get into the union." So I said, "Okay," because she was a friend, and I had met Harry. He was a nice guy, but I didn't know him.
Mhm.
So I said, "Okay," and I just brushed it off. I said, "Here's another thing I'm going to put on my list of things I'm never going to get to."
Yeah.
So but then one day I kept on running into her, and she was asking me about it. So just to get her off my back, and stop asking me. So I wrote this thing about 20 pages. I wrote a film short that I didn't think would get made. Just to shut her up, to stop it. Well, here, okay, I wrote this, give it to him.
Yeah.
And I get this phone call from him saying, "Hey, it's really good, but it's too long. You got to make it 10 minutes. So I go, "Okay, fine." So now I got him on my back. So then I, cut it down. That took me a couple of, I don't know, weeks or whatever. And I cut it down, and it still looked pretty good. But I didn't know anything about writing. I was an improv. I was Second City, the committee. I didn't care about writing. I just wanted to get these two people off my back.
Yeah.
Because I was running into them every day. And or they were phoning me. So I did it. And then one day he called me. He says, "Okay, this is really great. 10 minutes, fine." And I go, "Wait. How much is this going to cost? Well, where are you going?" He said, "Oh, well, yeah, it'll $5,000. So I don't have $5,000. Do you?" He said, "No." He said, "Why don't you raise it? You're an actor." I go, okay, I'll get back to you. So what I did was I saved the money. I just kept on, and it took me 6 months to come up with $5,000, auditioning and doing all those things that you were reading. I was doing in the beginning, I was doing it to do the film short.
Yeah.
For those people, it wasn't because I was driven or I had fire in my belly. I was just, it was like my parents. "Okay, I'll go to college. Okay, I'll write the screenplay. Okay, I'll raise the money." So after I had $5,000, and I called them and I said, "Hey, what I did was I like the Beau gest. I like Beau gests. So what I did was I was saving the money in my sock drawer. I would, either put checks in there or cash or whatever, just put it in. When I got $5,000, I cashed all the checks, everything, and I got $5,000 cash. $5,000, and I stuffed it into a brown paper shopping bag, small one, small
Mhm.
shopping bag. And I stuffed it into him and I rolled it up. And I just walked over to his house. I mean, it was a neighborhood. He was in a neighborhood. I walked over to his house, knocked on the door. And so Anna was his wife's name. Anna was the girl who told me. So as Anna comes to the door and she says, "Oh, hi, Larry. What do you want?" And I said, "I want to talk to Harry." And she said, "We're eating dinner. We have a rule. You can't disturb Harry or me during dinner. So you come back in a half hour." I said, no, I got to do it now. But I had a paper bag. I said, "I got to give him this. That's all. I'm not going to disturb him. I'm not going to talk to him. I just want to go in and I just want to give him this bag. That's it." And she said, "Well, give it to me." No, I want to just give it. No, please, just let me. So that was my pitch. "Please, no, let me just talk to him, please.
I have money. I have a bag of money.
I have a bag of money, please." I didn't want to give it away. I wanted it to be a surprise, but yeah, so that's my pitch. So he said, "All right, but just give him the bag, and then I got to give him this bag." "Okay, just give him the bag and then leave. You got to leave." So she guides me into the kitchen table. "Oh, hi, Larry." Yeah, and he's got a fork, and he's got I got this piece of meat or something stuck to just about to stuff it into his mouth. And I go, Harry, here, boom. And I just put it on the table in front of him. And I said, thanks. And I said, thanks, Dan. And I left. And that was it. And then as I'm walking back to my house, I'm thinking, what did I just do? I just handed him $5,000. I didn't tell him why. I didn't tell him what it was for.
This was like months later, right?
I didn't get a receipt. Nothing. That was the craziest thing I'd ever done. And so I just sat at home, and I wouldn't call him. I refused. I mean, it's got to be a beau geste. I just have to leave it there and, disappear, like a Lone Ranger, a silver bullet. And he called me and said, hey, okay, I got it. It's 5,000. Okay, get your cash together. I'm going to call my crew. I've already warned them that this would happen. And we're going to start in 2 weeks. And that's what he told me. We're going to shoot in 2 weeks. We got to look for a location, So, meet me, blah, blah, blah. So we looked for Sally's Diner. We found a guy named Sally, and he had a diner in the neighborhood. And that was it. And it got an Academy Award nomination for all that chuffa. All that ridiculousness. So we got but when you get an Academy Award nomination, the entire city knows. Hollywood knew. I could call anybody when that was announced. All the people in the Academy who got nominations or awards that year. I could call anybody and just get through on a meeting. And they, you got the Academy Award for that film short. But I never followed it up. I never wanted to do another film. First of all, I didn't know what I did, because Harry wanted me to direct it. Yeah. And I didn't know how to direct. That was not in any discussion. We found the diner. We got, I got the money. I got my cast. He got his crew. We're going to shoot it. And then I said, well, who's going to direct this? And I figured, Harry is now running this thing, because Harry was a real film operator, a camera operator in really big films. So I would turn to, he said, no, you're going to direct it. No, I can't direct it. I don't know how to direct. I'll help you. The worst help I'd ever gotten, the worst advice I'd ever, hey, I'll help you direct it. Now, that's really cruel if it's not a producer or a cinematographer. I'll help you. You want help, but not a producer or cinematographer. And here's why. Because they have an agenda. What a cinematographer or a producer wants really is control.
Yeah.
So if a cinematographer is helping you direct, he's looking out for his film credit. He wants to put the camera where he thinks it's best. And the producer, the same thing. He wants to make the movie in his image.
Yeah, so he can, he could point to that scene to the girl at the bar and be like, I had him do that.
So I didn't know this until we got into the editing room. And who did you get an editor? I said to Harry, after all the fights we had with the directing, no, I want the camera here. No, you should put the camera here. No, I didn't. So, Larry, just get outside and take a walk around the block. You're freaking out my crew. Because I would blow up. I would say, no, just. And he would change it. He'd say, okay, we'll do it your way. Just take a walk around the block. When you get back, we'll do it your way. So I did it once. I walked around the block, and it was a huge block in LA. It's a huge block. Walked all the way around. And I'm thinking, all right, calm down, Larry. You are freaking out the crew. You can't, this is not the way a director should act, And I get back, and he set it up his way. While I was gone, and he said, hey, man. I said, no. He said, we're losing the light. Actually, we're gaining the light. It was a night shoot, and the sun was going to come in the front window. Man, this is a night shoot. So I said, all right. So I had to give up.
Yeah.
Then, but it worked. I mean, actually, he gave me good advice. When I saw the film and it got an Academy Award nomination, I looked at the shot that he told me walk around the block. He was right.
Mm-hmm.
He did the right thing. So thank God he told me to get the fuck out of there and walk around the block. So, I mean, I didn't have any fire in the belly. I didn't have the director's vision, you know, that you got to do it this way. I've been on shoots where the director would, I mean, he would force almost at gunpoint to have the actors and the crew do the shot his way. And it would turn out to be right. And that's what a director has to know. And he has to have the confidence of the crew that, okay, man, look, he's the director. You know, he signed on to do it his way. He's the director. And
yeah,
I think that confidence of the crew. You know?
I think if you're able to convey that you see the big picture like you should, and you know where it's coming from, where it's going, how it ties together,
right.
and it's like you can't really question that in a director if you only know.
Well, you can question it. It's just that the director just doesn't have that. You know, hey man. At
the end of the day, he's got the final say because he's studying everything the night before, not just this scene.
Well, that's what you hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but yeah.
Come on, man.
That's always my fault. That when I'm directing, it's like, you know, was anybody else up until 4 o'clock this morning making sure that this ties into this and this ties into that? No. Okay. So stop talking right now because I'm tired because I was up until 4 o'clock this morning doing that. So let's get it done this way because this is the right way. Trust me.
You know, the best thing that ever happened to me was being on Escape from Alcatraz, because I was on it for 3 months with the best people ever in the world. Don Siegel, who is like the best director ever besides John Huston, and he had chops up the yin-yang, and Clint Eastwood, who knows what the fuck he's doing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows, and he's also a director. At that time, he was learning to be a director, and who was teaching him? Don Siegel, the director of Escape from Alcatraz. So I just hung out with those two guys, man. I did just to understand what I was doing as an actor. Even though I didn't have the fire in the belly, I was here, and these are the best. And I was going, okay, learn, man. Just shut up and, you know, just absorb. Just be a sponge. That was it. So that's what I did for 3 months. I would go into work when I wasn't needed. And that you had to get up at 6 a.m. to catch the boats to go to the Alcatraz Island with 200, you know, extras, you know, for the prisoners. And go out on the island, and you couldn't leave until 8 o'clock at night when all the boats left to take you back, and you were stuck on the island. So I was there. I was on salary for 3 months, but I was only needed, I would say, for maybe 15 or 20 of those 3 months.
Nice.
15 or 20 days of shooting. All the rest, I was there every day. I would get up at 6 a.m, put on my costume even. You know, go in just in case they needed an extra and that's what they did. That's why I got co-star billing. That was not in my contract. That was a gift from Don and Clint. That was a gift, man. They don't do that in Hollywood. Yeah. But I was in costume every day, right next to the camera, just there to observe. That was all. But either Clint or Don would say, Larry, get in this scene. I go, well, why? What am I doing? It doesn't matter. We need another body in there. Get in there. So I was in way more scenes than were in the screenplay. Way more. Awesome. And I finally got co-star billing, man.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't matter if I said anything or not, or if I, you know, ad-libbed or whatever. He would throw me in. So, but I watched those guys, and Don Siegel, I would ask him, why are you putting the camera here? And he would say, I don't know, maybe I'll get fired. Who knows, Larry? I mean, he would just put me on or stuff. But when push came to shove, Don Siegel knew exactly where every shot was, even though I didn't. as an actor, just asking him. And sometimes he would tell me, well, because blah, 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 or I need to do this, or we're coming from there, so we come to. So, the same thing with Clint, he would be just doing little things. And that's what even De Niro said. It's the little things that make, somebody asked him the other day, I was watching, he said, De Niro, he said, well, how do you go into audition? Well, what's in your mind? How do you prepare to audition? It was like a very important question that was being asked of Robert De Niro. And De Niro said, well, what I do is I just pretend I'm not going to get the job. I think the guy, it was an actor who asked him. So, well, how do you get the job? It frees you up.
Yeah.
You can do anything, man. You're not going to get the job. You might as well do what the hell you want. His attitude was so simple and so offhand, and that's what he did. He said, well, didn't you worry about getting a next job? Didn't you after the job was finished? In the beginning when you were just an actor, and you finish a job, didn't you worry that there was not another job? I'm always worried I'm not going to get another job.
Yeah.
No, I never worried about that. Well, why? I don't know. I was always positive. I thought, I'll get another job. It's just so.
It sounds so easy.
One of the great actors, man.
Yeah.
Just blah, 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 And then he would say, well, how do you work with directors? How do you work? He said, well, they tell you stuff, but what they're telling you stuff is because of what's in their mind, about the story. I don't know about the story, or the camera angle, hey, we'll move over here a little and move over there a little, maybe talk a little louder, or maybe over here, It's and he said, well, doesn't that bother you? It's making movies.
Yeah.
It's just so. Yeah. No big deal, man. What are you talking about? What is this? What are you bothered about? It's so great. But yeah, because Clint and Don Siegel and De Niro know what the fuck they're doing. They've been around and they have the spiel down. They know what is required of them. They know how to make one. They got it down and they play the game and they got fire in their belly. Also, all of that shit. They're there because they want to be there and they love being there. And I was just there to learn. It had nothing to do with this is what I'm going to do forever. Or acting to me is I can do it.
Yeah.
If I can do it. So if I can do it and I can make money to make films, okay. But when I got the Academy Award, I didn't want to make another film. Because that's what, if you get an Academy Award and you're a filmmaker, holy cow, man, that would keep you going for 10 years. Easy. Yeah, but, I just went on, if I saved money for that, I could save money for this, I'll get a motorcycle. Cool. So it's so individual, I guess. I'm listening to me talking to a filmmaker, and I'm not, and I was, and I'm, a writer now. But I guess what it all boils down to is it's very individual, how and why and what, and where and when. Bob Dylan said he was born doing it, and he did it.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the stuff that he learned was just like De Niro. Yeah, well, you just write it down. It comes to you, think of it, you write it down. Then you put it to music and you sing it. You just don't put it in the garage. That was a great thing that Dylan once said. He said, well, don't you write a lot of songs, more songs than you put on the album? Oh, yeah. Well, what do you do with those, man? What do you do with those? Well, I record them. But what do you do with the recordings? Well, I put them on records. I put them on albums. I save them for the next album. And then he said, I don't want my songs just piling up in the garage. In other words, no, he moved them out, nothing. Yeah. He was a songwriter for the public. You write something, you record it, you put it out. That's what you do with whatever's in your head.
Yeah, I had a friend that he passed away 2 years ago. We'd write and we'd make films together. We'd do music sometimes, and he's the polar opposite of me. Like I never understood him. He would make things and keep them secret, and part of me
Yeah.
admired that, but it never made sense to me. It's like as soon as I make something to me, I can't wait to share it with the world, just
Yeah.
to see,
Yeah.
even if they hate it. I want to see what the reaction is, how it's received. There's
Well,
just
that's
something
great.
so
See,
fulfilling.
that's I don't know if that's what you would call fire in your belly, but I mean that's that. See, I wrote stuff for so long, when I had time, blah blah blah. But I always put it in a drawer because I didn't think it was good enough, or it wasn't the right time, or blah blah blah. So I kept it, and I have these boxes actually in my bedroom, and they're all blah blah. So now when I got out of the acting business, show business, I just got time for myself now, and I
Mhm.
just now what do I want to do now that I've done all that, and I got the residuals for it, so I get the rent paid, I get residuals for all those things you read. So
Yeah.
that's the payoff now. I didn't know that then, but after I turned 65, all of a sudden I go, oh, I'll get out. I got maybe a pension. And then all of a sudden, these residuals start to come in from all those things you read. I didn't
So
know that when I was auditioning. It was just that went into the sock drawer for the next film.
yeah.
I didn't count it up. I just counted for what I had. I need this much for this film. Boom, it came out. I never had a bank account. It was just always in the drawer. But when I started to get a bank account, after 65, I thought, wait a minute, I can do something with this. I went through the drawers and I looked at all the writing and I said, hey, this is really good. I don't know why I thought it was really bad. I guess
Yeah.
self-confidence. That's what it is, self-confidence. They go, no, this is great. And I put it all into a book,
Yeah,
I got,
is that book? And we're already 3 minutes over an hour. It feels
yeah.
like 10 minutes. So I don't want to. I want to respect your time. I want the loopholes dossier. Is that the book that you're referring to? I saw that on
No, that
Amazon.
was the collection. That was part
Okay.
of it.
Okay.
Uh,
So
The
you've got
loopholes
another book
after,
coming
but
out.
I'm going to re-release that. I'm pulling it off the market. That was an attempt at a first book, and I published it myself. But I didn't like the cover. This is self-confidence. I designed the cover. I made the cover. I drew the cover. I did the cover. I made the cover, and I put it out on Amazon. And I didn't like it. I didn't like the cover. So I just didn't bother with it. I mean, it's out there. I never told anybody about it. You're probably one of the first persons who even mentioned it. And I wrote another book during COVID. It's called That Guy, because that's what I'm known as. Oh, you're that guy from
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you're that guy.
To me,
So
you're that
that's the
guy from
one
Planes,
I
Trains, and
wrote.
Automobiles.
But the second book I'm going to publish is The Loopholes Dossier, but it's going to be under another name, and it's going to have a little more in it.
Oh, you're
So
going to give it the Lucifer's women treatment, I guess, huh?
Say that again?
You're going to give it the Lucifer's women treatment. I saw that you were in a film called Lucifer's Women that kind of got lost, and another filmmaker recreated
Wow,
it.
you
With,
really did some research on
I did.
that.
We did it. I love the conversation we've had, but there's so much on this PDF of interesting facts and tidbits and trivia, and we didn't get to any of that. And I'm not mad about that, because I think the conversation we had was absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to make sure that we
Let's
got
do
to
it
your
again,
books.
in a couple of months when the book comes out.
Yeah,
In
that'd be great.
So I'm a book writer now, and I like it. I think it's great. I can sit at home. I get what's in my head out on the page, and then I can put it out there. I got representation. So it's really cool.
Well, growing up watching you, I always got the impression that you were like, I always felt like an outsider to Hollywood to me, even though you were always right there in the mix. There was something that there was just an energy that I got from you that it felt like you
I
were,
guess maybe
different.
because people say the same thing. You're kind of quirky. You're different. You know, I don't know anything about that.
You just feel too authentic for that world to me.
Too what?
Too authentic.
Too authentic. Well, there's a couple of people who are pretty authentic. Yeah, I got to tell you this. For all the bullshit I think about and feel about Hollywood, when they say, you know, movies is magic, which is that's the name of my friend's production company. Movies is magic. The magic happens. And to be present on the set when magic happens is a wonder. It's awe-inspiring. So Hollywood is all the bullshit you've ever heard about is true, but there's geniuses in there. In that city. Yeah. And then they do some amazing crap.
That's the whole reason why I do this show. Because I respect that craft. It's
90-10. You know, 90% bullshit, 10% incredible genius. But I think that's the odds of Homo sapiens.
Yeah, yeah.
90%, 10% is keeping the species going.
Well, here's to the 10%.
It's a race. It's touch and go.
Before
I gotta get out of here.
It's been an absolute honor. I'll touch base with you so maybe we could work this out in the future again. This has been great, Larry. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Durden.
Take care. All right, bye-bye.
Making a living the old hard way, taking and giving my day by day. I dig snow and rain and bright sunshine.
Hey guys, hey gals. Did you like that? I know I did. And here's something YouTube thinks you'll like. They've actually recommended. What do you recommend?
I recommend that if you have not subscribed to our channel, then please click right down there and make sure you correct that wrong this very instant.
Let me ask a question. Where can they find us?
All those places over there, we're everywhere. Everywhere.
We thought we could do a cooler outro. We're just going to walk away now.